everyone. So our group topic that we are going to discuss will be how hospitality industry will respond to the COVID-19 post-COVID-19 era, and how we can consider various strategies that they might use to appeal to their existing or new markets in the future. So as an introduction, as we all know that COVID-19 has a big effects in the market, marketing strategies, revenues are having a lot of difficulties, especially now that we are trying to move forward with the new normal. So it is difficult to discuss the proper action that to take to recovery process. However, your strategies in the market should start with the new normal procedures that the guests and the customers will feel their safeness. So before we move on to our strategies, we have to make sure that before we prepare the marketing strategies, the revenue strategies, we need to make sure if we are ready to welcome our guests. Are we capable to welcome them? So these are the things that we need to consider before we market or before we do our marketing strategy in our hotel.
So there are two things to make your structure statement more precise. Number one is your commitment to your guest. Your first priority is and has always been your guest. Let them know that the actions you're taking are their health and safety. So you can explain to them that everything that you do will benefit them. So for the next slide, we are going to talk about what are hotels doing to address safety concerns from guests staying in their properties. There are three ideas that hotel can consider to meet new expectation and deliver an exceptional guest experience in post-COVID era. Number one is revive and rethink room service. So, hotel operations and food preparation teams will be required to modify their sanitation, preparation, and product safety procedures and focus on communicating these new practices to guests. As a focus on wellness is expected to continue as a result of the health crisis, guests may also turn to room service for access to healthy produce, opting for fresh salads and locally sourced ingredients.
Support safety through cleanliness and contactless technology. There are a number of such strategies hotels can consider to further demonstrate their commitment to safety through cleanliness. Hotels could consider using ultraviolet technology to demonstrate a higher standard of cleanliness. The machines enter the room after it is cleaned by housekeeping staff, and it is designed to kill viruses with flashes of intense ultraviolet light.
So to minimize the physical contact between attendees, meeting spaces will need to reconfigured to densify the floor space. 6 feet of separations between people equates to a significant reduction compared to a previous ratios. Exhibitions and trade shows events may be required to limit occupancy by implementing ticket seasons, or exhibitors may be required to use separately enclosed display environment with a regulated occupancy. Air changes and cleaning and protective procedures must be done as well.
A 6 feet spacing rule will extend the space required for queuing. Temperature checks and health screenings will increase the time it takes to process arrivals. Designing multiple entry points and separate exit points can help manage these new requirements. Digital ticketing and pre-screening could also decrease intake time and create opportunities within these apps and services to extend brand and property engagement.
Your digital presence, vanity website, brand website, and social media must have a clear, reassuring informations for any potential guest. So we clearly and concisely convey everything you're doing to maintain a health and safety of your guests and staff. Outline all the precautions, measures your property is also necessary.
Create flexible cancellation policies and promotion opportunities. Promote the opportunity to return and stay at your hotel in the future. Offer guests a credit for a future stay or create a welcome back package. These are just some of examples you can adopt to give travelers confidence to book future travel plans.
So for the second strategy in digital marketing is focus on your existing customer base. So you need to be clear and consistent in your messaging, especially with your hard-earned loyal customer base. Proactively reach out to share information with key accounts and keep lines of communication open.
Customer satisfaction and service are as important, if not more, than ever. If you need to cut costs, make sure that the guest experience is not impacted.
So moving on to the next slide, discussing the slide presentation regarding reassuring guests during COVID-19, how to write a travel update. So as one of the strategies, we need to make a structure to our statement where the goal is to inform our guest of the status of the reservations, making them to know that reassurance of their safety measurements while they are in the hotel. Your statement should be agreed upon communicated through every channel, including your website, social media, sales staff, and any one-to-one communications that you have with the guests.
Building and staff precautions. What health and safety precautions is your hotel taking? The main one could be halting any new reservations at this time. Other areas you could share should include the cleaning products your staff is using, how public spaces are being cleaned, how the back of the house is kept sanitary, the precautions and behavior of staff to limit contact, and any reported cases at hotel to date.
So pretty well said, JM. And for the next slide, we will talk about what can we learn from the past to start recovering from COVID-19's impact on this hotel industry today. So there are three things that we have to discuss. First is smart cost cutting according to successful post-recession businesses. Cost cutting measures are almost certainly every business first step. Companies that perform best cut costs by focusing on operational efficiency rather than permanently reducing their workforce. While some layoffs, both temporary and permanent, may be necessary in the short term, it should not be the core strategy to keep afloat during difficult times like the pandemic that we are experiencing.
So every hotel is struggling with the uncertain future, especially right now, like because of the pandemic. After cost cutting, thinking about the future revenue, which is very essential to the company. One consensus is to avoid slashing prices too quickly without considerable planning to avoid competing on price. Compete on quality with value adds on booking, like maybe you can add some breakfast, airport pickups, or a welcome package to the guests.
And lastly is reward advance bookings, because following the last recession, booking windows shortened and we can expect the same again.
Okay, now let's talk about sales and marketing to recover faster. A good marketing strategy is key to getting ahead first. Reaching an entirely new market segment is a costly marketing endeavor. Instead, take a longer term approach using the staff and on-site sources you should already have.
Given a changing travel restrictions right now, your local market will be able to take advantage of a food and beverage, spa, or other ancillary services sooner than the travelers, so consider going to local for the time being.
And the second one is, according to the Cornell study, hotel sales staff are essential. Post-recession winners increase sales expenditures, indicating the frontline sales staff, personal contact, and negotiations are the key to recovery.
Return to your database with the aim of both reaching out to key accounts with personalized approach and to clean it up for future use.
And for the next slide, which we will talk about hotel marketing on travel channels during COVID-19, a content strategies for a strong recovery. So number one is avoid slashing public rates. It's clear that cutting rates is not the path to a speedy recovery. Revenue managers looking for the right dynamic content mix to have in place when travelers inevitably flock back to their area should be asking themselves, what's a hotel to do instead to get ahead and bounce back faster? So the possible answer might be avoid cutting across the board and take a more nuanced approach.
Only the lower your rates on the channels or channels that bundle a stay with another service like transportation, so you can increase occupancy without decreasing brand integrity.
Increase commission on channels with a proven record of selling high volumes of room nights in your hotel's market.
And lastly, go local, which means geo-target travelers closer to your hotel on meta search engines which allow auction bidding on relevant keywords. Local travel will pick up before leisure travel.
Images, descriptive text, location details, all of this information need to be up to date on hundreds of distribution channels, all with their own best practice, and intranets should be done as well.
And last but not the least, for a content strategy of strong recovery is indirect channel performance for operational efficiency. This is the time to optimize your distribution. Focus on a distribution strategy that prevents you from having to cut public rates while still increasing occupancy.
Travel will rebound, and it is a good time to focus on the things within your hotel's control. Improving your static and descriptive content on travel channels is a project that will benefit revenue generation both in the immediate aftermath of COVID-19 and further down the line.
And for the last slide for our report, which is 3 marketing revenue strategies for a new normal, a strategy for now. Managing cancellations remains the focus for the immediate short term, the volume of which will depend upon where you are located and the current stage of the spread of COVID-19, and is likely to remain the case until there is more certainty over how to manage the process from lockdown through the new normal.
This may restrict the numbers of a room put back into inventory. If your hotel has a heavy reliance on F&B, social distancing measures will likely means fewer covers. So rework the figures and use multiple scenarios.
People will want to know they are going somewhere safe, hygienic, and be looked after by teams that understand how to manage the stay environment and follow government guidelines. Ensure commitment to guest safety and hygiene and communicate this through rate descriptions. Reflect this in terms and conditions and across the website.
And for the final strategy is looking farther ahead, which means forecasting will provide new perspectives. Tracking pickup by segment and analyzing differences from last year will be helpful, although clearly skewed, but will give an insight into any changes in travel patterns, and you can learn from this.
The pace of reservation arrival by segment will likely be very different, but you still need to understand how this differs. And this, plus changes in booking windows per segment will need to be adjusted for.
Conclusions will be we have to consider all the areas, all the aspects before we do the marketing strategy in our hotel. We need to make sure that our hotel is ready, properly equipped with the health and safety measures for the guests. So thank you for your time, and